beast! Ah!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Not the Bees, the Nicolas Cage filmography podcast. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Megs.
And this week we watched 2011's Trespass, a film by Joel Schumaker, starring Nicolas Cage and Nicole Kidman. We open on Kyle Cage driving his convertible and trying to sell a diamond. He's on his way home. His wife, Sarah, played by Kidman, and their daughter, Avery, are arguing about a party that Avery wants to go to. Avery says she'll ask Dad, who sides with Sarah because boys. Avery storms to her room after accusing her parents of, quote, going through something, and refuses to eat dinner. Kyle is in his office, and he seems to have sneaky deals when Sarah comes to ask if he wants dinner. He then goes sneaking to the basement. Avery sneaks out to go joyriding with her friends and almost immediately crashes. There's a lot of sneaking going on in this section of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah and Kyle talk about his last job and parenting in the kitchen. Kyle found a lighter and cigarettes out by the pool, but Sarah doesn't seem to worry. Kyle has to leave to finish a deal. He guilt trips Sarah by saying that everything he does is for them. I know, Sarah says, and kisses him before he leaves. She says she doesn't know how many more times this has to happen before she doesn't care anymore. Kyle asks what that means. The phone rings. A cop is outside asking to come in because there's been burglaries in the area. Kyle tells Sarah to go get Avery while he lets the cop in. Avery's door is locked and she's not answering. Sarah gets the key and opens the door, but Avery is gone. Downstairs, Kyle has opened the door, and it's not a real cop. He's a burglar that pushes his way in while Kyle yells at Sarah to run. The fake cop's cohorts chase her. Sarah's able to get into a car, but as she's driving away, the fake cop is standing in the driveway holding a gun to Kyle's head. The bad guys want the code to the safe and to know where the kid is. They also want the code to the home alarm, and when Sarah tries to give it to them, Kyle interrupts and gives a different code. There's a real code and one that calls the cops, but the bad guys already know that. At the party, a stupid boy tries to impress Avery with money and cocaine, but Avery calls a cab to leave instead. Back at the house, time is winding down. The bad guys only have 15 minutes. They want Kyle to open the safe, but he won't. They threaten to shoot Sarah. They know he has diamonds, but don't really care what's in there, just that he opens it. Kyle wants to know who they have cutting the diamonds. There's laser inscriptions, and he knows how they have to be changed. He tells them that in their hands, the diamonds are just useless rocks. He convinces them to work with him to have them altered. One of the guys says that they should just take all the cash. Just then, Sarah recognizes one of the guys holding them as one of the techs that set up their security system. The lady burglar smokes something out of a pipe in a different room. Kyle still refuses to open the safe, and the bad guys are upping the threat to Sarah. Kyle says to let her go, and he'll open the safe and make them rich. The leader, Elias, instead has one of them bring a syringe to drug them with instead, so that they'll just go to sleep after Kyle opens the safe and no one gets hurt. But if he has to use the entire syringe on one person, it's enough to kill. But Kyle is steadfast. The big guy starts throwing Sarah around, but the one she recognized makes him stop and says if anyone hurts her, he'll kill them. Turns out he was watching her from the pool, and the lighter and cigarette Kyle found belonged to him. Avery arrives back home as Sarah is being dragged away from Kyle. The big guy is threatening to cut off Kyle's thumb if he doesn't open the safe. In the kitchen, Elias takes his mask off and harasses Sarah about serving his brother when he installed the security system. She tries to grab a knife, but he stops her and tells her she messed with his brother. That's why this is happening. Only she can save her husband, and she's going to die. He makes her tell him she deserves it, and she uses the opportunity to steal the syringe with the drugs from his pocket. In the other room, Kyle is still being threatened with the loss of his thumb when Sarah is pushed back into the room. Avery arrives back at home, having snuck back in, and calls for her parents. They scream and tell her to run, and a chase ensues, but they catch her and bring her into the main room with her parents. Elias uses this opportunity to tell Kyle that his mom needs a new kidney, and he has to broker to get one, and it's $180,000. So either he's leaving with the money or he's leaving with a kidney. That's why he brought a guy with a tranquilizer and a knife. Sarah pulls out the syringe and grabs Elias and holds it to him and tries to force them to let Avery go. She's counting down from 5. Then a shot rings out. The big guy unloaded a shotgun into the wall next to Sarah. He says no one is going to kill her. Then he takes Avery, wraps his leather jacket around her that we've also seen him sneak a pistol into, and then moves her outside and he arms the security. He says drop the syringe, open the safe, or he'll bring her back in. Sarah is demanding Kyle open the safe, and he continues to refuse. She says do it or they can all die. She just doesn't give a fuck anymore. Kyle opens the safe. It's empty. Everyone, including Sarah, is pissed. Kyle tells them he lost his job. The cash he saw wasn't his. It never came to his house. They're mortgaged up to their eyeballs. Outside, Avery is hiding in the trees near her house and her watch alarm goes off. She desperately tries to turn it off while the big guy is walking around looking for her. Inside, Elias breaks open Kyle's briefcase. His papers say where all the diamonds are, but they're all over. Kyle never owned them. He's just a middleman. The young guy Sarah recognized, apparently named Jonas, tries to get Sarah to tell him where the money is. Not for him, he says, but for us. She looks at him like he's ridiculous. The big guy brings Avery back in, but Kyle says if they want a kidney to take his. So Elias throws everything off the desk, throws Kyle onto it, and counts down to when he's going to stab him. But then he stabs the desk. He said his mother died because she was a fat drunk. He doesn't want the kidney. The big guy gets a call. They have a time limit on this, and when asked how it's going, Elias says it's under control, and whoever is on the other end tells the big guy they have 1 hour. The lady burglar starts freaking out, and Elias tells the big guy to control her. And then he tells Kyle that him and his family aren't the only hostages here. Elias goes to calm the woman down, and she's freaking out over someone named Ty killing them, and she wants to leave and go to Mexico. The big guy walks in and says no one is running. All the bad guys grab Sarah and tie up Kyle and Avery. There's a necklace that might be valuable. Sarah is pleading with Elias, saying, "You promised not to hurt us." She clearly knows these people in some capacity. Elias makes Jonas and the woman take Sarah back to the living room, and there's a lot of yelling from Sarah that the big guy and Elias said they're going to kill them all. Kyle whispers to Avery that there's a lighter in his pocket. She gets it and hands it to him. Jonas is in another room promising Sarah he'll help them. The big guy and Elias grab their guns. Kyle lights the lighter and burns the tape on Avery's wrists. Sarah tries to seduce Jonas into saving her daughter, and it's working. The guy heads back to the main room and catches Sarah and Jonas. Jonas puts her back in the living room. The two guys have their masks off. Elias tells Jonas to get out of here. He'll finish up. Jonas squares up. You're not hurting her or the kid. Elias has the woman grab Avery and tells Jonas to delete the security tapes. The three of them leave. Elias puts Kyle on his knees. We see a flashback of Jonas and Sarah. They had an affair. Elias threatens them one more time, but Kyle says they're going to have nothing. So Elias says he'll take the necklace and leave 3 bodies. Kyle tells him the necklace is fake. It's from the shopping channel. Upstairs, the woman burglar is having trouble getting her lighter to light, so Avery offers to tell her where Mom's Vicodin is. Back downstairs, Kyle gives the bad guys an etymology lesson on the word diamond, meaning unbreakable, to prove the necklace is a fake. Elias tells Kyle that Sarah fucked his baby brother. While the room reels from that, Avery is in the bathroom smashing the woman's head into a mirror, and Sarah is running out the door tripping the alarm. Elias and Kyle scuffle. Jonas goes to turn off the alarm, but we can already hear sirens. The phone starts to ring, and we see Sarah running on the monitor. Jonas answers the phone from the alarm dispatch and tells them he'll have to call them back. Big guy has Kyle in a headlock, holding the syringe to him. Just as he goes to plunge it, Kyle redirects, and half of it goes into the big guy's arm. He's out cold. The alarm company is calling back. Jonas tells them it must be a mistake. This is the Miller's residence. Dispatch says she needs to speak to one of the residents right away. Avery is running from the woman through an unfinished part of the house. Kyle is stalking through this area with the big guy's shotgun. The woman finds Avery hiding under a table and pulls a gun on her, just as Kyle reaches them and pulls the shotgun on the woman. Jonas then comes up behind Kyle with his gun drawn. Kyle drops his gun. Jonas puts Avery on the phone with dispatch, and she provides the password to turn off the alarm, though dispatch did advise that EMS had been alerted. Sarah has just made it back to the front of the house and goes to use the digital keypad, but Elias catches her. Avery convinces dispatch to cancel the units. Back in the main room, Elias shoots Kyle in the thigh. He's monologuing again about dope. He was jacked for $180,000. That's why the big guy came along. They owe his boss a lot of money. If Kyle just gives him money, this is all over. Kyle says he's worth more dead than alive. Just then, the woman finds a still of the security footage of Sarah and Jonas in among Kyle's work papers. He already knew about the affair. The big man's phone rings. His boss is on the line and wants to know where his money is. Elias assured him he'll be there and the call ends. Elias apologizes to Kyle. This could have been avoided and then he starts beating on Kyle, but Jonas stops him and calls him a coward. Apparently Jonas wasn't supposed to be in on this job. He has psychosis and he isn't taking his meds. The house phone rings again. Elias checks the monitor. It's a guard from the security company. He's coming to check on the alarm notice. The guy says he can't leave without a signature from a family member or he'll have to notify police. Elias tells him to give him a sec. In the main room, Sarah tells Kyle she loves him and he tells her that doesn't matter. The doorbell rings. Elias answers the door in a robe, trying to feign comfort, and apologizes for having to come all the way out when suddenly the guard is shot in the head by Jonas. Jonas knew the guy. He took Jonas's shift at the security company tonight. Jonas calls in the all clear. Elias goes back into the main room and knocks Kyle and Sarah to the ground and says game over. Avery says she can get the money, $200K, maybe more, and tells Elias about her friend from the party. It's 20 minutes away. Jonas is having a meltdown in the background while Elias has Avery get ready to go. He approaches Kyle and Sarah and tells Sarah not to worry. He'll take care of her like Kyle never did. Kyle and Sarah argue briefly about their being involved and making him a cuckold. We get another flashback to Jonas seducing Sarah. She didn't want it. He was insistent. Kyle asks Jonas if he loves Sarah. He says yes. Kyle says then take her and Avery and get them out of here. Upstairs, while Avery is getting ready, Elias is telling the woman that they'll get the money. He'll have to take her to Mexico. They'll get her out of foster care, and then the woman will get clean. But if it doesn't work out with this party, she has to kill Avery. Downstairs, Kyle has convinced Sarah to leave with Jonas and go get Avery. In the car, Avery tells the woman that the kid they're going to rob wants to have sex with her. The woman goes on a threatening tirade while Avery speeds up. The woman doesn't even notice until Avery reaches and unclips her seatbelt right before they slam into a pole. At the house, as Sarah goes to leave with Jonas, the big guy wakes up and tries to stop them from leaving, and he has a gun. Jonas and the big guy fight. On the road, Avery handcuffs a woman who's barely conscious to the steering wheel and walks away. At the house, Jonas and the big guy are struggling, and Elias comes in and shoots the big guy in the back twice. The big guy tells Elias that it's Jonas's fault they're all in this mess to begin with. He helped the big guy jack Elias for the dope. He was paid $10,000 for it. The big guy dies. During all this, Kyle and Sarah make it to the unfinished wing, and Kyle keeps trying to convince her to find Avery and leave. Elias comes up behind her and throws a sheet over her head and grabs her up, but Kyle has the nail gun and shoots Elias with it in the arm several times before Elias shoots him in the gut. Jonas rushes in and knocks Elias off Sarah, and they all fall through a wall and into a pile of cash. Elias tells them they could have avoided all of this mess if he had just given up the cash. Just then, Avery comes in waving a gun and tells them to get out. She'll kill Elias. He says not before he kills one of her parents, but which one? And then he chooses Sarah. So Jonas kills Elias because he's obsessed with Sarah. Jonas tries to convince Sarah that Kyle was going to take the money and split, but Kyle says he was saving it so the bank couldn't take it. It was all they have left. Jonas says thank you for it and asks Sarah to help him with the cash. But Kyle's noticed all the cans of paint thinner and that have fallen over and spilled and lights them on fire and tells Sarah and Avery to run. Jonas tries to collect some of the cash, but Kyle shoots him with the nail gun. Jonas goes to shoot him, but Sarah rushes back in and says give her the gun, she'll help him. He drops the gun but grabs her, says if he's dying, she's coming too. They belong together. But Kyle has grabbed the gun and shoots Jonas in the neck. Sarah helps Kyle out of the house. Kyle tells her about an insurance policy he has for when he's gone, but she says he's not going anywhere. Avery runs to them. Sirens are sounding in the distance. She says they're all going to be okay. The end. Megan, what did you think of this steaming pile of shit?
This movie gave me whiplash. Like, the amount of intensity in this movie is too much. I think I got into about 40 minutes into the movie and there had been like 10 different plot twists and changes. And like, this
is a 20-minute movie that they stretched into an hour and a half.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because they have really good talent.
Yes, but
it's acted really well.
The plot is so thin, it's losing its hair. Like, it's just not good.
And it's kind of like someone like found a bunch of different like writing prompts.
Yes!
And strung them together.
Oh my God. I was super annoyed when Kyle starts to give his monologue about diamonds in America and how they all have this like serial number on them. And I literally wrote down, oh, yay, the Wikipedia article about diamonds in America.
Yeah, literally. And then the etymology lesson later on, which, to be frank, is horseshit, because diamonds are very strong, but they can still be crushed.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't actually prove anything.
So I was like, they keep threatening to kill Sarah. At some point, you have to shoot the gun. You can't just keep threatening and threatening and threatening and not actually pulling the trigger.
Right. And like the time when Elias threw Kyle onto the table, onto the desk.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to cut your kidney out. And then he just slams it into the desk instead.
Like, you could have stabbed him a little bit in the fleshy bits. Like,
yeah.
Like, it could have been a shallow.
So, like, every intense moment is undercut by them not doing anything with the intensity.
No follow through.
Yeah.
No follow through whatsoever. I did look up a couple of, because like there's so much going on in this movie that like you really don't even know which way is up. So I did look at some of the trivia for this movie just on IMDb. I'm only going to share 3 because I think we only need 3. First is that production was disrupted on August 3rd of 2010 when it was reported that apparently Nicolas Cage had abandoned the project as he had allegedly insisted on switching roles from Kidman's husband to the kidnapper.
Oh, Jesus.
They then offered the role to Liev Schreiber. However, the following day, Cage resumed his role as the husband. Number 2, this film broke the fastest ever from theaters to home video record previously held by 2003's From Justin to Kelly. That film took 29 days to get to DVD. This movie, Trespass, only made it to 18.
Ooh.
This film had a budget of $35 million, but it grossed a disappointing $24,094 in North America from a total of 10 theaters and was pulled from theaters after only 10 days.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would be why I've never fucking heard of it, because you would think that I would have heard of this. It's got Nick Cage, it's got Nicole Kidman, it's directed by Joel Schumaker. You would expect that this would have been something you would have at least heard about.
Right. And then I looked up the drug. I can't pronounce it, which is why it's not in the write-up, but I'll do my best here. It's called suxamethonium. I think suxamethonium. I don't know. It's a paralytic agent, but it doesn't have any anesthetic or analgesic properties. So it's basically like, first of all, it's way deadlier than the movie portrayed. So it's only a paralytic. You're still awake. You can still like feel everything. You're completely aware, but it shuts down your lungs. So like you would be completely aware and you would slowly suffocate to death.
Wonderful.
Also, the half-life on it is only like 10 minutes. So there's no way that the big guy would have been knocked out for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie doesn't know what it wants to be. It just knows that it wants to be a thriller desperately. It also knows that it wants to have something in the realm of like robbery and hostage situations. But it really doesn't know from 1 minute to the next what its next move is. And like it's at some point, like it just is a caricature of itself. Like I'm sitting there watching it, like at the end when Avery's running through the house and she's trying to hide, and then the woman burglar, I don't think her name is never even said. No. She does not have a name, neither does the big guy. He's just the big guy. I can assume that the person who's calling on the phone is this Thai person that they're worried about being murdered by, but nobody knows. Anyways, so she pulls Avery out from under this workbench or whatever, points a gun at her. Nick Cage comes in, points a gun at the woman burglar, and then Jonas comes in behind him and points a gun at Kyle. And like it just felt very much like that Spider-Man meme where they're just pointing at each other.
Yes. Yep. I have written here, what is with this female trespasser? Amateurs. Because the men are cowing Sarah and Kyle, and she goes off to Sarah's room, puts on one of her dresses, and smokes some crack.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. What is she even there for? Why would you even
What is
bring
her
her?
purpose?
Because if this is a situation where Elias and Jonas are strung up for 180 grand, she'd be better as a hostage. She would be better as a negotiating chip somewhere else, because all she's doing is fucking up the entire thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand the point of her even being in the movie. That being said, everyone's performance, I think, was, with the exception, honestly, of her, was great. I felt the terror and the sheer I'm fucking done with this from Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
I felt the desperation and also the resignation to death that Kyle was experiencing.
Yep.
I felt the teenage angst coming from Avery. I was really annoyed with the bad guys, but to be fair, that's par for the course.
I love when the bad guys. So I was high when I was watching this, so all of my notes are like super sarcastic.
Mm-hmm.
But when he starts telling when Elias starts telling Kyle, "Oh, we need a kidney for my mom," I wrote down, "Oh, does the trespasser have unresolved childhood trauma?" Because it's so fucking ridiculous. Like, they are jumping from plot point to plot point, and none of it makes any sense. So, we want the diamonds. No, we need a kidney. No, I want the money. No, I need you to give me the money. Like,
and then come to find out that they're there for no reason at all, because the people that jacked the cocaine from him to begin with is the guy that they owe the money to.
yeah.
So, like,
This movie's terrible.
It's very loosely strung together, and I mean, it's watchable. It is watchable, I'll give you that. But it, like, the amount of anxiety that I felt was the entire time.
Yeah.
It was the entire time. There was never a moment where there's like a lull in something where like someone's being clever about something. It's poorly explained, like, what the relationship that Sarah has with Elias and Jonas is. Like, she clearly knows Jonas, but how the fuck does she know Elias? This was a kid that came to her house for one day.
Yeah, well, I don't think she did know Elias. I think she only recognized Jonas.
Yeah, but
the scene in the kitchen where he's got her, like, how undersexed is Sarah? That
like,
she was just about to fucking make out with this guy.
And you know what? That happens several times in the movie between Elias and Jonas and Sarah. And, like, I feel like I hesitate to really get into, like, all the, because there's so many moving parts in this movie that we could probably talk about all of the problems with it for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
We really could. But, I mean, the gist of it is that it's very poorly paced. Again, it is very much like a very long string of writing prompts strung together with not glue, not anything even close to, not even masking tape, nothing like it. It is well acted. The writing isn't terrible, but again, there is that lack of cohesiveness and uniformity to the plot.
Yeah.
The direction, honestly, is fine.
Yep.
I'm fine with the direction. Joel Schumaker did what Joel Schumaker does when he directs movies.
And this is one of those thrillers that he could turn out in his sleep. And looks like he did.
Yeah, it was the last movie that he made before he died in 2020. So, I mean, it's watchable. It's watchable. If we had to give this a grade, what would you give it, Elizabeth?
Ooh, a D?
I think a D is fair. I don't think that it merits the level of an F because, again, it is watchable. It is well acted. The intensity is intense. It's intense where it should be. It's just that all of the parts should be.
What would we give the caginess of it?
I actually would give him a B, I think.
Really?
I think I would. It's a departure from the kinds of roles we've seen him play before. We've never really seen him be a hostage. And I felt like he did not know what to do. And I think that it's honestly his character's arc is probably his, and his daughter's just happens to be brief, but it's probably the most well thought out character arc, right? Because he knows the safe is fucking empty.
Yeah.
He knows that they are leveraged up to their eyeballs. So like for the first, 45, 50 minutes of the movie before they open the safe, he is desperately trying to negotiate and fast talk them into a different deal to prevent the situation from becoming worse. And I mean, that I feel like to me that's a side of Nicolas Cage I've never seen before, as just a regular man, like hot potato from foot to foot, not knowing what, which way is up, but knowing what he has to do to try to help his family.
You make
I'd
a
give
good
it a
argument.
B.
I would give him a C, but you make a good argument. Can we land on a B minus?
I was just about to say, let's do B minus then. I think that's fair. Yeah.
All right. So that's it from us, kids. We give this movie a D, and we give the caginess of it a B minus. If you want to follow along with us on social media, we are on Instagram at Not the Bees Pod. We are on Patreon at Not the Bees, and you can throw us a few bones over there. You get early access to episodes and access to our Discord server. But for this week, I've been Elizabeth.
And I've been Megs.
Good night and good luck, folks.